The massive space station called Nexus Prime floated in the darkness between star systems. It was neutral ground where no single alien race could claim control. Today, the station buzzed with activity as ships from 12 different worlds docked. At its ports, the Galactic Council was meeting, and the topic was serious. Ambassador Lisa Carter walked down the long corridor toward the main meeting hall. Her boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. Behind her, Commander Jake Morrison and 3 other humans followed quietly. Lisa had been Earth's voice in the galaxy for 10 years now. She knew how the aliens saw her people. The meeting hall was enormous. 12 different sections held the representatives of each major species in the galaxy. The air felt thick with tension as Lisa and her team took their seats in the smallest section. Around them, alien beings of all shapes and sizes whispered. Among themselves, High Chancellor Kethfor of the Zephyrians stood up first. He was tall and thin with blue skin that seemed to glow. His people were one of the oldest races in the galaxy. When he spoke, his voice carried across the hall like thunder. "We are here today to discuss the human problem," Kethfor announced. "These newcomers have been in our galaxy for only 50 years. Yet they continue to expand into new star systems without proper permission." Murmurs of agreement came from many sections. Lisa kept her face calm, but Jake noticed her hands tighten slightly on her chair's armrests. The Vorthan delegate spoke next. The crystalline being's voice sounded like breaking glass. "The humans have taken 17 star systems so far. This expansion is concerning, but still manageable. They are a young race with primitive technology." "Primitive indeed," added Hive Queen Zakdash. The insect-like creature's compound eyes glittered as she looked toward the human section. "Their military displays have been unimpressive. Their ships are slow, and their weapons are weak compared to ours." Other delegates nodded in agreement. The Korgan representative, a bear-like creature covered in thick fur, growled his opinion. "Humans are soft-bodied weaklings. They rely too much on their machines because their bodies are fragile." Lisa stood up slowly. All eyes in the hall turned to her. She was average height for a human, with brown hair tied back in a simple style. Nothing about her appearance suggested she was dangerous. This was exactly what she wanted. "Honored delegates," Lisa began, her voice steady and clear. "Humanity seeks only peaceful coexistence with all galactic species. We have followed all established protocols for colonization." Chancellor Kethfor's blue skin darkened with annoyance. "You speak of protocols, human, but you ignore the spirit of galactic law. Younger races should know their place. The established powers maintain order in this galaxy. And what place would that be?" Lisa asked politely. The question hung in the air for a moment. Then the Drakmarian war chief Vexstar stood up. His red scales caught the light as he moved. "Your place is to serve your betters, to contribute what little you can to galactic civilization while staying within the boundaries we set for you." Jake Morrison felt his jaw clench at the insult, but Lisa's hand made a small gesture that told him to stay calm. She had expected this attitude. Far beyond the meeting hall, hidden in the asteroid belt that surrounded the Nexus Prime system, Captain Ryan Brooks watched the proceedings on his ship's main screen. The vessel he commanded looked like a simple cargo hauler to any alien sensors that might detect it. In reality, it was one of humanity's most advanced observation ships. "They really think we're primitive," said Lieutenant Amy Foster from her position at the communications station. She was young for her rank, but her skills with alien technology were incredible. Engineer Carlos Mendez shook his head as he monitored the hidden recording devices they had placed throughout the station months ago. "Listen to them talk about US like we're children who need guidance." Captain Brooks remained focused on the main screen. He had been watching galactic politics for 15 years. He knew exactly how these meetings usually ended. Back in the meeting hall, Chancellor Kethvar was presenting what he called evidence of human aggression. Holographic displays showed human ships moving between star systems, human colonies being built on empty worlds, and human trade vessels visiting alien markets. "Look at this expansion," Kethvar said, pointing to a map of human-controlled space. "In 50 years, they have spread across 17 systems. If we allow this to continue, they will think they can take whatever they want." The Selenian delegate, a creature that looked like a walking tree with silver bark, spoke in a voice like rustling leaves. "Perhaps we should impose restrictions on human movement. Limit them to their current territories until they prove they can be trusted. Or we could simply ignore them," suggested the Aquarian representative. The whale-like being's massive bulk barely fit in its section of the hall. "They are too small to matter in galactic affairs. Let them play with their little colonies while the real powers handle important business." This suggestion drew laughter from several delegates. The sound made Jake's hands form fists under the table, but Lisa remained perfectly calm. The Zephyrian Chancellor called for order. "We must make a decision today. The human expansion cannot continue unchecked. I propose we send them an ultimatum." "What kind of ultimatum?" asked the Korgan delegate. "Simple," Kethvar replied. "They must cease all expansion beyond their current territories. They must submit to Galactic Council oversight of their military forces. And they must accept limitations on their trade activities." The vote was swift. 11 species voted in favor of the ultimatum. Only the humans abstained, since they were not allowed to vote on matters concerning themselves. Chancellor Kethvar turned to face Lisa directly. "Ambassador Carter, you will deliver this message to your Earth government. You have 72 hours to respond with your acceptance." Lisa stood up again. As she did, something in her expression changed slightly. It was just a small smile, but several alien delegates suddenly felt uncomfortable without knowing why. "I will deliver your message to Earth," Lisa said calmly. "However, I should mention that my government will need to consider all options before responding." "There are no options," War Chief Vextar snarled. "You will accept our terms or face the consequences." Lisa's smile grew a little wider. "We shall see." The meeting ended with the aliens congratulating themselves on handling the human problem so easily. As the delegates filed out of the hall, many of them commented on how reasonable the humans had been. Clearly, they understood their place in the galaxy. Lisa and her team walked back to their ship in silence. Once they were safely aboard, Jake finally spoke. "They have no idea what they just did, do they?" he asked. Lisa settled into her captain's chair and activated the secure communication system. "No, Jake, they don't have any idea at all." As their ship left Nexus Prime, Lisa began composing a message to Earth. It would be encrypted with codes that no alien species had ever seen. The message was simple. The galaxy has made its choice. Recommend we show them ours. Hidden in the asteroid belt, Captain Brooks watched the human diplomatic ship jump to faster-than-light travel. He turned to his crew with a grin that would have terrified the alien delegates if they could have seen it. "Amy, send a coded message to Fleet Command," he ordered. "Tell them the Council took the bait. Operation Revelation is now active." As the message was sent through channels that existed in dimensions the aliens didn't even know about, the galaxy continued to spin peacefully through space. The alien delegates returned to their homeworlds, confident that they had solved the human problem before it could become serious. They had no idea that they had just made the biggest mistake in galactic history. The message from Ambassador Lisa Carter reached Earth in less than 6 hours. The secure transmission bypassed all known alien communication networks and arrived directly at the Global Defense Headquarters in Geneva. President Nathan Ward was waiting for it. Nathan sat in the underground war room, surrounded by the most powerful people on Earth. Fleet Admiral Helen Ross stood near a massive holographic display, showing star maps that no alien had ever seen. General Marcus Stone reviewed military reports on his tablet, while Dr. Patricia Yang checked classified research data. "The Galactic Council has made their move," Nathan announced as he finished reading Lisa's report. "They want us to stop expanding, submit to their oversight, and accept trade restrictions." Admiral Ross laughed, but there was no humor in the sound. "After 50 years of watching us, they still think we're helpless children." "That was always the plan," Dr. Yang reminded them. She was the head of the Classified Technologies Division, the most secret organization on Earth. "The 1% protocol has worked perfectly." General Stone looked up from his tablet. "Are we really going to reveal the truth now?" "Once we do this, there's no going back." President Ward nodded slowly. "The aliens have forced our hand. They're threatening U.S. with military action if we don't obey. It's time they learned who they're really dealing with." Dr. Yang activated a holographic projector in the center of the room. The display showed what looked like a simple human cargo ship. "This is what the aliens think our best technology looks like," she said. Then the image changed, showing a massive warship bristling with weapons that seemed to bend space around them. "This is what our cargo ships actually look like when they drop their disguise fields." The revelation had begun 50 years ago, when humanity first encountered alien technology. A Zephyrian scout ship had crashed on Earth's moon, and human scientists had studied every piece of it. What they discovered changed everything. The aliens had been using the same basic technology for thousands of years, Dr. Yang explained. They never innovated because they never had to. Each species developed their own version of the same ideas and then stopped improving. But humans were different. Within 5 years of studying that first alien ship, human scientists had not only understood the technology, but had improved it in ways the aliens never imagined. Faster-than-light travel became twice as fast. Energy weapons became 10 times more powerful. Shield technology became virtually impenetrable. The problem was what to do with these advances. Earth's leaders realized that if they showed their true capabilities, the galaxy would see humanity as a threat. Every alien species would unite against them. So they made a decision that would shape the next 50 years. "We created 2 versions of everything," Admiral Ross explained. "The real technology that we actually use and the fake primitive versions that we show to aliens." President Ward remembered those early debates. The 1% protocol meant that everything we showed to the galaxy was deliberately weakened. Our ships, our weapons, our industry, everything was designed to look barely functional. The deception had been incredible in its scope. Human colonies were built with hidden sections that aliens never saw. Human ships carried concealed weapons and engines. Human factories produced both the simple goods they traded with aliens and the advanced technology they actually used. Captain Susan Davis commanded one of humanity's real warships from a hidden base on the edge of the galaxy. The dreadnought Excalibur was larger than most alien space stations and carried weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Her ship existed in a pocket dimension that alien sensors couldn't detect. The aliens count our visible fleet at maybe 300 ships, Captain Davis reported during the secure conference call. They have no idea we have over 10,000 vessels in hidden dimensions. The truth was even more shocking than that. What the aliens thought was humanity's entire space navy was actually just the training fleet that new recruits used to learn basic operations. The real human defense network was spread across dozens of secret installations using technology that the aliens couldn't even imagine. Lieutenant Commander Tony Brooks was stationed at one of these hidden bases. The facility was built inside a moon that appeared completely dead to alien scans. Inside, massive factories produced ships and weapons using principles that alien scientists had never discovered. "We're not just more advanced than they think," Tony explained to his team during a briefing. We're so far ahead that it's like comparing a stone axe to a nuclear reactor. The scope of the deception was staggering. Human colonies that appeared to support a few thousand people actually housed millions in underground cities. Human trade ships that seemed to carry simple goods were actually mobile research laboratories studying alien weaknesses. Human diplomats, who appeared weak and peaceful, were actually gathering intelligence on every aspect of alien civilization. Dr. Martin Lee had spent 30 years studying alien biology, psychology, and technology. His research stations were hidden throughout the galaxy, disguised as asteroid mining operations. He knew more about alien capabilities than most aliens knew about themselves. Every alien species has critical weaknesses they don't even realize, Dr. Lee reported. The Zephyrians rely too heavily on their energy shields. The Vorthans can't function if their crystal matrices are disrupted. The Korgans are vulnerable to specific sound frequencies. But the most important discovery was how limited alien thinking had become. After thousands of years of peace and stability, none of the alien species had developed the human capacity for rapid adaptation and innovation. They fight the same way their ancestors did 1,000 years ago, General Stone observed. They use the same tactics, the same strategies, the same technologies. They've become predictable. Meanwhile, humanity had been preparing for every possibility. Human scientists had developed counters to every alien weapon system. Human strategists had war game scenarios against every possible combination of alien forces. Human engineers had built ships that could fight in dimensions that aliens didn't know existed. Captain Elizabeth Hayes commanded the flagship Sovereign from humanity's most secret base. The ship could phase in and out of normal space-time, making it effectively invulnerable to conventional attacks. Its weapons could manipulate gravity, time, and the fundamental forces of physics. The aliens think in terms of bigger guns and thicker armor, Captain Hayes explained. We think in terms of rewriting the laws of physics to make their guns irrelevant. The meeting in the war room continued as reports came in from secret bases across the galaxy. Admiral Christopher Moore commanded a fleet of ships that existed partially outside normal spacetime. Dr. Jonathan Swift had developed technology that could shut down alien electronics from light years away. General Patricia Wells oversaw industrial complexes that could build entire fleets in days rather than years. President Ward listened to each report with growing amazement. Even he hadn't fully understood the scope of what humanity had accomplished. In secret, so when the aliens look at us, they see primitive newcomers with crude technology, he summarized. But the reality is that we've been studying them for 50 years while building capabilities they can't even comprehend. Exactly. Dr. Yang confirmed. The 1% protocol has been so successful that they literally cannot imagine our true strength. To them, we're showing impressive growth for a young species. To us, we're barely trying. Admiral Ross brought up the immediate situation. The Galactic Council has given us 72 hours to surrender our independence. What's our response? President. Ward stood up and looked around the room at Earth's most powerful defenders. These men and women had spent decades preparing for this moment. Send a message to all hidden installations, he ordered. Operation Revelation is now active. It's time the galaxy learn what the other 99% of human capability looks like. As the orders went out through channels that existed in dimensions aliens had never discovered, humanity prepared to end 50 years of careful deception. The galaxy was about to learn that they had been living next door to a sleeping giant, and that giant was now waking up. The 72 hours passed in complete silence from Earth. The Galactic Council waited for humanity's response, growing more impatient with each passing hour. Chancellor Kethver had paced in his private chambers aboard his flagship, expecting the humans to beg for mercy at any moment. When the deadline expired, Ambassador Lisa Carter finally sent a message to the Council. It was only one sentence long. We respectfully decline your terms and will continue our peaceful expansion. The alien leaders could not believe what they had read. War Chief Vextar threw his communication device across his command room in rage. How dare these primitive creatures refuse our generous offer? Chancellor Kethvar called an emergency meeting of the Council. Within hours, representatives from all 12 species gathered via hologram in the main conference chamber. The humans have made their choice, Kethvar announced to the assembled aliens. They believe their pathetic technology can protect them from the combined might of the galaxy. We will show them how wrong they are. The decision was unanimous. A peacekeeping fleet would be assembled to enforce the Council's will. Each species would contribute ships and warriors to teach humanity a lesson they would never forget. War Commander Vexnol of the Drakmarian Empire was chosen to lead the operation. He was a veteran of dozens of conflicts and had never lost a battle. His massive battlecruiser dominance would serve as the flagship for the largest military force assembled in galactic history. The fleet that gathered at the staging point was truly impressive. 300 ships from 6 different species floated in perfect formation. Zephyrian energy cruisers hummed with power. Vorthan crystal ships sparkled like giant diamonds. Korgan heavy assault vessels bristled with weapons. Drakmarian battleships dominated the center of the formation like metal mountains. "Look at this force," Vexnol said to his bridge crew as he surveyed the fleet. "The humans have maybe 50 ships total. We outnumber them 6 to 1, and our technology is superior. This will be over in minutes." His tactical officer, a young Drakmarian named Zektar, studied the fleet composition on his screen. "Commander, our smallest escort ship has more firepower than their largest vessel. Should we even bother with a full attack formation?" Vexnol laughed, showing rows of sharp teeth. "We will use full military protocol. When word of this victory spreads, no other young species will dare challenge the established order." The Armada jumped to faster-than-light travel, heading for humanity's border system of New Eden. Intelligence reports indicated that the humans kept a small defensive force there. It would be the perfect place to demonstrate galactic authority. The New Eden system was quiet when the alien fleet arrived. A single human space station orbited the main planet, with what appeared to be 12 human ships docked nearby. Long-range scans showed the vessels were older models with weak shields and limited weapons. Commodore Alex Turner stood on the bridge of his flagship Guardian, watching the massive alien fleet drop out of hyperspace. Around him, his crew worked calmly at their stations. Nobody seemed particularly concerned about the overwhelming enemy force. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the alien flagship," reported Communications Officer Betty Price. "Put it on screen," Turner ordered. War Commander Vexnol appeared on the main display, his red scales gleaming under the bright lights of his bridge. "Human Commander, I am Vexnol of the Drakmarian Empire. You will surrender immediately and submit to Galactic Council authority." Turner studied the alien commander with mild interest. "I'm afraid we can't do that, Commander. This is human space, and we have every right to be here." "You have no rights," Vexnol snarled. "Look around you, human. 300 ships against 12. Your primitive technology against our advanced weapons. Surrender now, and we will allow your crew to live." Captain Danny Pierce, commanding the human vessel Guardian's Edge, opened a channel to the alien fleet. "Commander Vexnol, I strongly advise you to withdraw from this system. You don't understand what you're dealing with." The alien commander's laughter echoed across the communication channels. "We know exactly what we're dealing with. Weak creatures who think they can bluff their way out of inevitable defeat." Pierce looked at Commodore Turner, who nodded slightly. Pierce reached for a small device on his command console that no alien had ever seen before. "Very well," Pierce said quietly. "You were warned." He pressed the device. Space around the alien fleet suddenly exploded with light as hundreds of previously invisible human ships appeared. Stealth fields that had been active for hours deactivated all at once, revealing a massive human fleet that had been hiding in plain sight. The alien sensors, which had detected nothing unusual moments before, now screamed warnings as they registered. Energy signatures unlike anything in their databases. Advanced human vessels with impossible power readings surrounded the peacekeeping fleet completely. On the Drakmarian flagship, Tactical Officer Zik Tar stared at his instruments in disbelief. "Commander, I'm reading over 400 human ships. Their energy output is off the charts. These readings must be wrong." Vexenal felt his confidence begin to crack. Run full scans. There must be some mistake. But the scans confirmed what their eyes could see. The human fleet that surrounded them was not only larger than the alien armada, but each individual ship radiated power levels that should have been impossible for vessels of their size. "Commodore," Turner opened a channel to the alien fleet. His voice was calm and almost friendly. "Commander Vexenal, you're looking at maybe 2% of our defensive capability. We strongly suggest you reconsider your position." The alien commander's first instinct was to reject what he was seeing. "Impossible. Your entire species has less than 100 ships total. Our intelligence is perfect." "Your intelligence is exactly what we wanted you to believe," Turner replied. "We've been watching you for 50 years, Commander. We know everything about your fleet, your weapons, your tactics. You know almost nothing about us." Captain Linda Hayes, commanding the human destroyer Vigilant, moved her ship closer to the alien formation. The movement was smooth and controlled, but the aliens noticed that her vessel seemed to bend space around it as it traveled. "How are they moving like that?" Zektar whispered. "Their ships are breaking our understanding of physics." Lieutenant Commander Frank Moore led a squadron of human fighters in a demonstration flight around the alien fleet. The small craft moved through space in ways that seemed impossible, phasing through solid matter and appearing in multiple locations simultaneously. The alien crews watched in growing terror as the human ships displayed technology that their scientists had said was impossible. Weapons that fired pure energy, shields that absorbed attacks and converted them to power, engines that moved ships through dimensions that aliens didn't even know existed. War Commander, Vexenal tried to maintain his authority. "Even if you have more ships than we expected, we are still the Galactic Council's representatives. Attack us and you declare war on the entire galaxy." "We're not attacking anyone," Commodore Turner pointed out. "You came to our system and threatened us. We're simply showing you that your threats are meaningless." Dr. Kevin Ross, monitoring the confrontation from his research vessel, activated a scanning beam that analyzed the alien ships down to the molecular level. Within seconds, he had complete technical specifications for every vessel in the enemy fleet. "Commander Turner," Dr. Ross reported over the secure channel, "I've identified critical weaknesses in all their ship designs. Their shields use frequencies we can disrupt. Their weapons rely on power systems we can overload. Their engines use principles we can reverse." The demonstration continued as human ships showed capabilities that redefined what the aliens thought was possible. Captain Jennifer Stone's vessel Prometheus caught a meteor in a gravity field and reshaped it into a perfect sculpture of the Galactic Council symbol, then launched it gently toward the alien flagship. "Consider that a gift," Captain Stone transmitted, "and a demonstration that we can manipulate matter and energy in ways your people consider impossible." The alien fleet found itself completely outmatched in every possible way. Their weapons couldn't lock on to targets that phased in and out of normal space. Their sensors couldn't track ships that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Their tactics were useless against opponents who could predict every move. War Commander Thexno realized that his magnificent fleet had been reduced to helpless. Observers at a demonstration of power beyond their comprehension. "What do you want from us?" he finally asked. Commodore Turner's answer was simple. "We want you to go home and tell the Galactic Council exactly what you've seen here today. Tell them that humanity is no longer hiding what we're capable of." The alien commander had no choice but to agree. War Commander Thexno stared at the impossible display of human ships surrounding his fleet. His pride as a warrior would not let him accept defeat without a fight. The Drakmarian Empire had never retreated from any battle, and he would not be the first to break that tradition. All ships, battle stations. Thexno commanded over the fleet communication channel. "These humans think they can frighten us with tricks and illusions. We will show them the true meaning of galactic power." The alien fleet began to move into attack formation. 300 warships spread out in a complex pattern that had been perfected over thousands of years of warfare. Each ship charged its weapons and raised its shields to maximum power. Commodore Turner watched the alien preparations with sadness rather than anger. "They're really going to do this," he said to his bridge crew. "After everything we've shown them, they still think they can win through force. Should we withdraw to a safe distance?" Asked Navigation Officer Carol West. Turner shook his head. "No. If we retreat now, they'll think we were bluffing. It's time to show them exactly what human technology can do." The first shots came from the Zephyrian energy cruisers. Brilliant beams of concentrated power lanced out toward the human ships. The weapons were designed to punch through the heaviest armor and destroy entire vessels with a single hit. Captain Kelly Mason, aboard the destroyer Defiant, watched the alien energy beams approach her ship. She made no attempt to dodge or raise additional shields. Instead, she activated a system that no alien had ever seen before. The energy beams struck her ship and simply disappeared. The weapons that should have destroyed the Defiant were absorbed by fields that converted the attacking energy into power for the human vessel's own systems. "Energy absorption at 100% efficiency," reported Mason's engineering officer Pete Clark. "All alien weapons fire is being converted to fuel our reactors." The aliens fired again, pouring more energy into their attacks. Every shot was absorbed harmlessly by the human ships. The weapons that had devastated enemies for millennia were feeding power to their intended targets. "Impossible," Tactical Officer Zektar shouted on the Drakmarian flagship. "Their shields are absorbing our weapons' fire and making their ships stronger." War Commander Thexno felt a chill run down his spine. "Fire everything. All weapons, maximum power." "They cannot absorb infinite energy." The alien fleet unleashed a barrage that lit up space like a small star. Every weapon system fired at once, creating a storm of destructive energy that should have obliterated anything in its path. The human ships sat calmly in the center of the firestorm, their hulls glowing slightly as they absorbed the massive energy input. Not a single human vessel was damaged. Instead, their power readings increased dramatically. Captain Mason decided it was time to demonstrate human countermeasures. She targeted 17 alien ships simultaneously with a single precisely controlled pulse from her main weapon. The pulse was not designed to destroy. Instead, it sent a signal that disrupted the alien ship's electronic systems. In an instant, 17 enemy vessels went dark. Their engines stopped, their weapons powered down, and their shields collapsed. The ships were completely helpless, but unharmed. "What happened to our systems?" demanded the captain of the Korgan heavy cruiser Crusher. His bridge was lit only by emergency lighting, and none of his controls responded. "The humans have shut Down our technology somehow, his engineering officer replied. Every system is offline except life support. Similar scenes played out across 17 alien ships. The crews were alive and safe, but their vessels were as helpless as floating rocks. Lieutenant Commander Tony Brooks led a squadron of 12. Human fighters in a demonstration that made the alien pilots question everything they thought they knew about space combat. Brooks' fighters approached the alien formation at impossible speeds. As they reached the enemy ships, they seemed to phase through the solid hulls and emerge on the other side without causing any damage. "Did you see that?" gasped a Vorthan pilot. "Those fighters just passed through our ship like we weren't there." The human fighters regrouped and performed maneuvers that violated every law of physics the aliens understood. They moved in multiple directions simultaneously, appeared in several places at once, and seemed to exist in more than 3 dimensions. "They're not just faster than us," reported a Zephyrian squadron leader. "They're moving through space in ways that our science says are impossible." The decisive moment came when War Commander Thexnol ordered his flagship to fire its ultimate weapon. The Dominance carried a planet-killer beam that could destroy entire worlds. If anything could penetrate human defenses, it would be this weapon of mass destruction. "Charging the Omega Cannon," announced Weapons Officer Drekanor. "This weapon has never failed to destroy its target." The massive beam lanced out from the Drakmarian flagship, carrying enough energy to crack a planet's surface. It was aimed directly at the human flagship Sovereign, commanded by Captain Elizabeth Hayes. Captain Hayes watched the approaching beam with calm interest. "Gravitational field generators online," she ordered. "Prepare for energy redirection." The planet-killer beam struck an invisible barrier around the Sovereign and was caught in a gravitational field that compressed and redirected it. The weapons. Massive energy was condensed into a harmless light show that spelled out the word surrender in 12 different alien languages. The display hung in space for several minutes, visible to every ship in both fleets. The message was clear. Humanity could not only stop the aliens' most powerful weapons, but could turn them into entertainment. They caught our planet-killer beam and turned it into a light show, Weapons Officer Drakenor said in a voice barely above a whisper. "How is that even possible?" Dr. Martin Lee, monitoring the battle from his research vessel, opened a channel to the stunned alien fleet. "Commanders, what you've witnessed today is the result of 50 years of studying galactic physics. We've found ways to manipulate fundamental forces that your species consider unchangeable." The aliens listened in horrified fascination as Dr. Lee explained how humans had advanced beyond their understanding of the universe. "Your weapons use energy in predictable patterns," Dr. Lee continued. "We've learned to redirect that energy, absorb it, or simply make it pass through our ships without causing harm. Your tactics are based on principles we've already surpassed." Captain Brian Foster, commanding the heavy cruiser Titan, demonstrated human offensive capabilities by disabling 30 alien ships with a single weapon discharge. The beam didn't destroy the vessels, but simply shut down every electronic system aboard them. "Your ships are now offline but undamaged," Captain Foster announced. "Your crews are safe, but your vessels are completely helpless. This is what happens when you threaten humanity." The alien fleet was in chaos. Nearly half their ships were disabled and drifting helplessly through space. The remaining vessels were afraid to attack because every weapon they fired only made the human ships stronger. War Commander Thexenol finally understood that his mighty fleet was completely outmatched. The humans had not only superior technology, but a completely different understanding of how the universe worked. "Human Commander," Thexenol transmitted to Commodore Turner, "what are your terms for our surrender?" Turner's reply was surprisingly gentle. "We don't want your surrender, Commander. We want you to go home and tell the Galactic Council what you've seen here." Tell them that humanity is offering them one chance to reconsider their position. And if the council refuses, Vexenol asked, then you'll discover what the remaining 98% of our capabilities look like. Turner replied. The alien commander ordered his fleet to withdraw. As they prepared to jump to hyperspace, he sent one final message to the human fleet. You could have destroyed us easily? Vexenol observed. Why didn't you? Commodore Turner's answer echoed across space. Because we're not conquerors, Commander. We're just neighbors who refuse to be bullied. The alien fleet jumped away, carrying news that would shake the galaxy to its foundations. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened just 12 hours after War Commander Exnol's fleet limped back to their home systems. The alien leaders gathered in person this time, no longer trusting holographic communications. Fear filled the great meeting hall of Nexus Prime as reports flooded in from the humiliated peacekeeping force. Chancellor Kethfer stood before the assembled delegates, his blue skin pale with shock. The reports we have received defy all logic and reason. According to our military commanders, the humans possess technology that makes our greatest weapons useless. The Vorthan delegate's crystalline form flickered with nervous energy. War Commander Vexenol claims that human ships absorbed our energy weapons and converted them to power. This must be some kind of mistake. No mistake, growled War Chief Vexstar, his red scales dulled with shame. I have reviewed all sensor data myself. The humans made our entire fleet helpless without destroying a single ship. They could have killed us all, but chose not to. Have King Zaketh's compound eyes reflected the meeting hall lights as she processed the impossible information. If these reports are accurate, then everything we believed about human capabilities was completely wrong. A new voice interrupted the confused discussions. Ambassador Lisa Carter walked into the meeting hall, followed by a much larger human delegation than anyone had ever seen before. Instead of her usual 5-person team, she brought 20 specialists and officials. Honored delegates, Lisa said. As she reached the center of the hall, I believe you requested a response to your ultimatum. We are here to provide that response. Chancellor Kethfer found his voice after a moment of stunned silence. Ambassador Carter, your military forces have committed acts of aggression against legitimate Galactic Council peacekeepers. Lisa's expression remained calm and polite. With respect, Chancellor, your forces entered human space and threatened our people. We simply demonstrated that such threats are ineffective. Demonstrated? War Chief Vexstar snarled. You humiliated the greatest military force in galactic history. Actually, said General Patricia Wells as she stepped forward, we used that encounter to gather final intelligence on your military capabilities. Thank you for providing such comprehensive data. General Wells activated a holographic projector that filled the center of the meeting hall. The display showed detailed technical specifications for every ship in the alien peacekeeping fleet, down to individual component designs. We now have complete information about your weapons, shields, engines, and tactical systems, General Wells explained. We also have psychological profiles of your command staff and detailed analyses of your strategic doctrines. The alien delegates stared at the impossible amount of detailed information about their own military forces. Data that should have taken years to gather had been collected in a single battle. Admiral Christopher Moore joined the presentation, his calm demeanor contrasting with the growing panic among the aliens. What you witnessed at New Eden was a minor demonstration using our training fleet. We thought you should understand the situation before we proceed. Training fleet? Chancellor Kethfer repeated weakly. The ships that defeated your peacekeeping force are used to teach new human recruits basic space combat. Admiral Moore confirmed. Our actual military vessels are considerably more advanced. Dr. Jonathan Swift stepped forward with another holographic display. This one showed human industrial complexes that dwarfed entire alien homeworlds. Massive factories in hidden dimensions produced fleets of ships in timeframes that alien engineers thought impossible. For 50 years, we have been building our true industrial capacity in locations your sensors cannot detect. Dr. Swift explained. We can construct more ships in a single month than your entire galaxy produces in a year. The aliens watched in growing horror as image after image revealed the scope of human deception. Hidden colonies that supported billions of people. Research stations that had solved scientific problems alien universities hadn't even identified. Military bases in pocket dimensions that existed outside normal spacetime. Ambassador Carter took control of the presentation as the full truth began to emerge. When humanity first joined the galactic community 50 years ago, we made a decision that has shaped everything since. We chose to hide our true capabilities. Why? Asked the Selenian delegate, her tree-like form trembling with confusion. Because we hoped to coexist peacefully, Carter replied. We studied your histories and learned that every time a new species demonstrated superior technology, the galaxy united against them. We wanted to avoid that outcome. President Nathan Ward appeared via secure hologram from Earth, his image projected with technology that made alien communication systems look primitive. We implemented what we called the 1% protocol. Everything we showed you was deliberately weakened to appear primitive. The revelation hit the alien delegates like a physical blow. Everything they thought they knew about humanity was a carefully constructed lie. 1%? War Chief Vexstar whispered. You mean the ships that defeated our fleet represent only 1% of your true power? Actually, corrected Dr. Yang as she joined the growing human delegation, the ships at New Eden were operating at about 2% of our defensive capabilities. We wanted to be sure you understood the message. Captain Susan Davis appeared on another hologram from her position, commanding the dreadnought Excalibur. Behind her, the bridge of her ship showed technology that the aliens couldn't even begin to understand. My single vessel carries more firepower than your entire peacekeeping fleet, Captain Davis reported. And we have thousands of ships like this one, all hidden in dimensions you don't know exist. The demonstrations continued as more human officials revealed the true scope of their civilization. Dr. Martin Lee showed research that had advanced human understanding of physics far beyond anything in alien textbooks. Captain Elizabeth Hayes displayed ships that could manipulate time, space, and reality itself. We've been watching you for 50 years, Captain Hayes explained. We know everything about your societies, your technologies, your weaknesses. You know almost nothing about us because we chose to keep it that way. The crushing weight of the revelation began to sink in among the alien delegates. Humanity wasn't just more advanced than they had believed. The gap was so enormous that comparison became meaningless. Chancellor Cathvar struggled to maintain some semblance of authority. Even if you possess superior technology, you are still outnumbered. The combined forces of the galaxy represent trillions of beings across hundreds of worlds. Ambassador Carter's smile was gentle but devastating. Chancellor, we appreciate your position, but you're still thinking in terms of the old galaxy. That galaxy no longer exists. President Ward's hologram became more prominent as he delivered humanity's final message. For 50 years, you have been living in a universe where humans pretended to be your equals. That pretense ends today. What we've shown you represents a tiny fraction of our true capabilities, Ward continued. We have weapons that can shut down entire star systems, ships that exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, industrial capacity that can reshape galactic civilization. The alien delegates sat in stunned silence as the full implications became clear. The balance of power hadn't shifted. It had been completely rewritten by a species that had spent half a century pretending to be harmless. What do you want from us? Chancellor Cathfor finally asked. Ambassador Carter's answer was simple and final. We want recognition as equals. We want the right to expand and explore without interference. And we want an end to threats against human space. And if we refuse? War Chief Vextar asked, though his voice lacked conviction. Carter's smile never wavered. Then you'll discover what the remaining 98% of human power looks like. But we'd much rather be your partners than your rulers. President Ward delivered the closing statement that would echo across the galaxy. We never wanted to conquer you. We still don't. But we will be treated as equals, whether you grant that recognition willingly or we demonstrate why it's inevitable. The vote was unanimous. Every alien species voted to recognize human sovereignty and accept the new reality. As the delegates dispersed to carry the news to their homeworlds, they knew that the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had revealed their hand, and the universe trembled.